Hey everybody, welcome to BlusTech. Today we're going to be talking about Intel and whether or not I think Intel will be around in the next 10 or 20 years. At least around in the sense that they are today. Stay tuned. So over the last couple of years, closer to 5 at this point, but over the last few years, Intel has been taking hit after hit. Whether it comes from AMD on the consumer space or the enterprise space, or, dealing with Apple and their new ARM processors. So let's take a dive in a little bit and see if Intel's really going to be as strong as it is today in the future. Let's look at the enterprise side of things. Back when AMD launched its EPYC series of CPUs for servers, it was slow. AMD's rise was slow and people were very skeptical about it. But surely enough, the longer people had to mess with the processor, the more market share AMD began to take, because AMD's EPYC line of processors far outclasses Intel's, which is the first time they've done that in almost a decade, over a decade. They began just a few short years ago at less than 1% market share, and it is estimated that by the end of Q4 2020, they will have taken 10% market share in just a handful of years. That's insane, and I wouldn't have been worried a couple of years ago, but I'd start being worried right now if I was Intel. But Intel's not just having problems with the server side of things, or even the enterprise in general side of things. They're also, this coming year in 2021, they're going to be losing a substantial portion of market share, of the mobile market share, because they just lost their contract with Apple. Previously, all MacBooks had Intel CPUs, but over the past 5 to 10 years, Apple has been researching and putting a lot of money into R&D so that they could move all of their MacBooks to ARM CPUs, making Intel completely unnecessary, because now it's all built in-house at Apple. And while we're talking about contract deals, Intel also just yet again lost out on the console space. AMD beat them out for both PlayStation and Microsoft's next-gen consoles. It should be noted that Intel has not been a serious competitor in the gaming console marketplace since the original Xbox. And if they really wanted to push the envelope here, they really needed one of those next-gen contracts. But it didn't happen, and because of that, over the lifetime of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and all the subsequent models that come out, there's going to be 250 to probably 300 million consoles sold. That is a huge loss for Intel. And this leads us to an interesting situation, because consumer confidence is always something that, okay, not always, but usually something that Intel had a lot of. That puts Intel in a really weird place, because they're starting to do things that are just plain deceitful. For instance, one of their marketing slides that they just released about one of their new laptop CPUs was completely skewed and out of context. They compared it to a similar AMD CPU and a similar AMD laptop. But the problem is, the difference that they show is all in graphics cards difference. The AMD laptop that they referenced had a much lower clocked graphics card than the one that was in the Intel rig. The AMD laptop with the slower graphics card was 18 to 25% slower because of the graphics card. If we compare both processors on user benchmark, you can tell that they're almost even out, almost perfectly in sync. This is just shady marketing, and it's going to erode consumer confidence. This isn't the first time Intel has done something like this in the past few years, and it's really concerning if that's where they're headed. That's not to say that Intel's not trying some new things. I can't say that they're very innovative things, but they're new things. One of those things that they've been trying to do is they're trying to up the ante when it comes to integrated graphics. And frankly, it's already a failure. It's already DOA. When you compare it to, even last gen Vega graphics, built in Vega graphics, it's about equal out. So I don't see what the whole point is. And yeah, there are rumors that they're coming out with discrete graphics cards, but even if they manage to get into that market, they're going to be dwarfed immediately by the giants that already exist. So I don't think that's really going to end up going much of anywhere. It's not the first time they've tried to venture into this space, and it probably won't be the last time. I just think that right now is a foolish time to try and jump into that space when you're hemorrhaging market share every quarter. And this is just another reason why I don't think Intel is going to be a behemoth in the market for very much longer. Sure, their cores do still have valid points to them, and they are faster in some titles and in some applications. But I think you'll find that once AMD's next generation desktop processors come out at the end of this year, that the 10th gen Intel chips are going to be superfluous overnight. But those are just my thoughts. If you have any comments, please let me know down below. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed and you want to hear more about stuff like this, or about retro gaming, or anything else, go ahead and subscribe. Have a good day, guys.